So today our lecture is going to focus on using the type tool in Photoshop. Photoshop is not necessarily the first tool we reach for when we're creating a text-heavy design project, but it's certainly improved over the years, and the type tool is much more useful than it used to be, primarily because the text stays a vector now and is editable long after you first input the text. So we're going to take a look at some simple things in the character panel, like adjusting leading and kerning and tracking, some kind of tried and true typographic elements. And we're going to have a little fun with OpenType fonts as opposed to TrueType fonts or other kinds of fonts. OpenType has a much larger character set and has some kind of fancy glyphs in it that you can embellish depending on the font. Anyway, so let's dig in. So if you take a look at the layers that I've got here, I've got several layers organized in folders, and like most of that is the milk carton, and it's on the left hand side, but the one on the right hand side is what we're going to focus on, the cow label. And we're going to start by creating a clipping mask, just to kind of review what those are. You can basically take one layer and place it inside the shape of another layer, and in this case we're going to do that with the sky texture and the word moo. And by the way, I'm going to Option or Alt click the thumbnail for the layer to zoom into it. In case you didn't know, you can Option Alt click the thumbnail of a layer to zoom right into it. That's a little close. I'll zoom out a little bit here. So we're going to take this sky texture. I've got to change my auto select for my move tool from group to layer so I can get an individual layer here. Right, see that? So I'm placing that texture over the top of the word moo. And I'm going to come over here to my layers and right click the sky layer. And down here I can choose create clipping mask. There we go. So it's placed the sky texture inside the word moo. This is a great thing to do with text, by the way. Type up the word and get a photograph and clip it inside. Create a clipping mask with it. Very cool. All right, so I'm going to once again Option click. Oops, I jumped to a smart object here. Didn't mean to do that. More about smart objects in a minute. I'm going to hit Command 0 to zoom back out here. Just as a little aside, smart objects, which this photo of the cows is actually a smart object, allows you to edit things separately from the Photoshop document. It's like a little container for layers that you can update later. So we'll take a look at that in just a minute. I gave you a little preview on accident. So, all right. Now we're going to get the type tool out here and focus on creating a bit of a type treatment for the name of the dairy, right? A little logo work here. So I'm going to hit the T key on the keyboard. That's the shortcut for the type tool. And before I start typing, I'm going to come up here to my property bar at the top, and you can see I've got a place where I can choose the font and its style and its size and its alignment and its color. So I'm going to start there. I'm going to choose an OpenType font, and you can tell OpenType fonts because they'll have the designation Pro after them, right? And one of Adobe's script fonts is Bickham Script Pro. If you don't have it, you should be able to go to Adobe's website and find it. They've got all sorts of fonts there. Do a quick search for it and you can install it on your system. Or play around with any other, OpenType fonts that have that Pro designation at the end of it. So I'm going to bring my cursor to the center of this sky area, this kind of negative space here, where I'm going to put the logo, so to speak, and click. Now you're going to see that the text is going to preview in like kind of a different mode where you can kind of see it separate from the rest of the image. And I'm going to set the font to about 30 points. And I'm going to leave the alignment centered because I kind of clicked in the center of the image. We can adjust its position a little later. And for color, right, like normally that's going to be set for black, but you can click on that swatch here and, for instance, come out into the image and click to sample a color from within the image. Say I want that same kind of medium blue that I've got down below, right? So it's cool. You can sample colors and change them and type with that text with that color. Now, this is really important. There's a character panel that you'll want to open up when you're dealing with a lot of text. The shortcut is right here on the control panel, but you can also find it under the window menu, character, right? And if you'd like, you can dock that over here in your, because you're probably going to use that more than once. Anyway, you can click on this guy right here and it'll open that up for you. Okay. Paragraph as well over here. Okay, so I'm looking at my character panel now, and I can see things like, again, font size, and here's the kerning setting, which adjusts the space between a couple of letters, right? Two letters. There's the leading setting, which adjusts the spacing between lines of text, and then the tracking, which sets the spacing between multiple letters. So kerning is just 2 letters, and tracking is multiple letters. And right now, the tracking is set for 100. That's why my letters are spaced apart. So I'm going to set that back to 0. So they're together again. See that? And I've also got the vertical scale set a little higher, right? If it's normally set at 100, I'm going to give this a bit of a stretched look and bump that vertical scale up to 150. And you can see the letters get a little taller when I do that. All right, so now I'm ready to start typing. The name of the dairy is Cahey's. Let me close this up. Select that. Capital K-E-A-H-E-Y apostrophe S. Okay, so that's kind of boring. Let's make it a little more eye-catching, shall we? In fact, let me zoom in a little more here. So, like I mentioned before, this is an OpenType font, and I can like isolate a letter, right? So I'm going to select that capital K, and you're going to notice when I do that, down here I've got some stylistic alternates, right? So I can click on that to get a different cursive capital K, right? Or even more fancy, right? So that's pretty cool. Now in Photoshop, you can actually, you weren't able to do this in the past, but now you can go to the window menu and choose Glyphs as well. Now the Glyphs panel allows you to see all of those alternate letter forms, numbers, dingbats, etc. And you can see in this OpenType font, there are a lot of alternates, right? And some fonts have more than others, but anyway, if you're looking to really get specific, you can open up that Glyphs panel and search for specialty letters within your font. Okay, so I've got the K. Let's do the Y now. I'm going to select the Y, and here are a bunch of stylistic alternates for that lowercase y. I'm going to choose this one. That looks about right. Super fancy. And I'm going to select the S as well and choose that alternate. Okay, so when I did that, the S kind of jumped out to the right a bit, and it's kind of messed the spacing up. You see that? Like that S is hanging out here. It looks awkward. So what I'm going to do is put my cursor just to the left of the S and adjust the kerning. So again, if I go back to my character panel here, got to move myself over a bit so you can see, right? See how that S, the spacing is off. So I'm going to go find my kerning setting, which is right here, right? Set the kerning between two characters. And you can drop this down, and I'd want to, you know, if I do positive numbers, it's going to make it go farther out. So I want to do negative numbers, right? Another thing you can do is like simply click on the icon for the option that you're wanting to adjust, right? And you can click on it and drag to the left in the case of kerning and just eyeball it until it's about the right spacing that you like. Get the idea? All right. So once you're done typing something, you're either going to have to click on a different tool other than the type tool, or come up here to the control panel at the top and click on this little checkbox here. See it? That'll commit the edits to your text. All right. Well, that's not bad. Here I'm going to get the move tool, or in this case, the move tool. Get it? Sorry, dad joke. All right. So I've got it positioned about where I want. Now I'm going to put the word milk right here under the baseline of the word Cahey's. And before I do that, I'm going to come up here and, well, you know, in fact, let me show you something before I do that. If I were to click to try to start typing right here, Photoshop thinks that I'm wanting to select the previous text. See that? It selects the word Cahey's. Now, I don't want to do that. What I want to do is start a new line. So what I'm going to do instead is, if you're trying to lay down text near another bit of text and it's getting in the way, you can hold down the Shift key and click, and it'll add a new line. It'll force a new line. Okay, so in this case, I want to change fonts to Helvetica Neue, and I'm going to drop the size of the font down to 10 points. I'm going to set it to bold, and I'm going to leave it on centered alignment there. And let's see. I'm going to type the word milk. Oh, hang on. One more thing that I want to do is change the vertical scale. It's a little tall. You see that? It's barely fitting. So I'm going to go back to my character panel here and change the vertical setting, vertical scale back to 100%. There we go. That's better. All right, so I'm going to type the word milk here in caps. All right. And to my eye, that's not elegant enough. If you want to make things look elegant, select it. I'm going to go back to my character panel, and this time I'm going to adjust the tracking, which right there. Sorry, no, I don't want to dictate. The tracking setting. If I'm going to click on that symbol for tracking and kind of increase the distance between those letters. And typically when you do that, it makes it look a little more elegant. There we go. And I can play around with position, get it centered the way I like it. All right. Not too bad. All right, so I'm going to pause the video there, and when we resume with part 2, I'm going to focus on area type and adjusting the leading within an area type box. And then we're going to turn this whole thing into a smart object and place it on the side of the milk carton to make it look like a part of the package. So, all right,